Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Mazon Giovanni. That over there, that's Michael Langston, recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports. Or subscribe to our YouTube page. How else can they show some support for you, Michael Langston?
Hit the like button, guys. Even more important this time of the year with recruiting ramping up and just all kinds of football team stuff going on. New new athletic director and all that stuff. So certainly hit the like button and so we can keep promoting all these things.
Standalone video as well as part of your Monday Wake Up War Chant podcast with myself and Corey Clark. Michael's here to talk recruiting. Michael, so much to talk about, so let's try to kind of break it up into, nice little doses for everybody. Let's talk first about the transfer market in terms of guys that had on campus this past weekend that are not grad transfer, but just, dudes in the portal. Micah Pittman's a guy. My dude from Albany, which I saw a photo of him, and I'm like, good grief, that's a kid in Albany High School, Georgia. But no, he's for the Albany Great Danes. Who did Florida State have on campus this weekend in terms of the transfer market, and how do you think they enjoyed their visit in Tallahassee?
Yeah, the first one on Thursday was Jarrett Verse. He visited Thursday and Friday. Went extremely well. I mean, he had rave reviews of the visit. I think he was going to go to Tennessee and Purdue after that. I think Tennessee's probably more of a threat than anyone. I would say Tennessee, Iowa, but I think the FSU visit was really it stood out a lot. I think that's the one where he raved about just the people there. His conversations with Jermaine Johnson and Kier Thomas were really, I think, personal for him. Wasn't all about just football. It was how they treated there, how the brotherhood is there at FSU, and just how it came about. Probably just with their journeys of transferring to FSU. So I think it kind of it resonated really strongly with Jared Verse. So I think that was a big deal. So certainly a very positive weekend as far as the visit. How it goes, we don't know. He's not gonna. He'll make a decision probably in as our article pointed out, probably in a few weeks or a month. So I think it'll be around Christmas. So he's one that we'll be waiting on once all the visits are out of the way. And then the other was wide receiver Micah Pittman visited certainly on Friday and visited this weekend. I don't know exactly what day he got there, but left today. Had a really good time, really good visit. I think he really talked up about the priority that FSU's made him from the start. I think there's schools that have shown interest, but I think with FSU, I think they made it clear, like, hey, you're our dude, you're our priority. I mean, he's the one receiver they brought in from the transfer portal. They had opportunities to bring in other receivers like, Tyrese Chambers that we covered, Joshua Moore, but those visits didn't happen. I think FSU wasn't ready to just go full throttle in there. So I think Micah's the guy that they really locked in on, and I think just showing him how what they do and just what the culture and the feeling is like about from all the football activities to the different things you'll see at Florida State and just the different ways that the amount of ways that they want to get playmakers the ball, I think was certainly a big deal in this visit this weekend, and certainly he said afterwards, he's like, I think FSU's in a good spot with me. Now he still does have, I think he wants to take a visit to Texas A&M for official, and then after that, I think he'll probably make a decision. He also visited Arizona State, but he seemed to really talk a lot about how FSU made him a priority from the start, and that was a big deal. And right when he hit the portal, they were on him. So I think it was certainly a very positive visit weekend with Micah Pittman, even though we're gonna have to wait a little bit for that decision.
Gotcha. I know you're obviously at Moore Center. We can tell by your voice you're probably out there all day talking and dealing with the elements and stuff. He's another guy that you said might not be an urgent sort of decision, but there's some rumblings possibly about maybe Oregon making a run after Kenny Dillingham. How much of a factor do you think that could be with Micah Pittman, or do you think there's other guys on staff that are making sure they don't get Walt Belled, Sam Howell, I guess, this time around?
Well, I think it's a big deal because Micah and Dillingham are connected. That's where the relationship started. I think Dillingham knew him from when he was where Michael was from. So certainly, if that happened, the chances of FSU getting him are probably not high, I would say. Even though I think he likes Dugans a lot, I think Norvell, there's some relationship there as well. It's not totally a Walt Bell situation, but there's no secret that Dillingham is the guy and the go-to guy. So certainly, if Dillingham doesn't come, it will certainly impact guys that Dillingham recruits like Kevin Coleman, Javante Barnes, those kind of guys that he has a really influence as far as he's leading the charge as far as recruiting. So it's not saying that they won't come here, but it certainly lessens the chances, a good bit if Dillingham does depart. But with Pittman, I think it would hurt their chances.
Gotcha. All right, let's move now then to the prep ranks. This is where you have to really truly build your program. You can get things back in on the rails here with the transfer market, but you got to build from within. You got to build it grassroots wise. Let's start with the offense then, Michael. No one bigger, literally and figuratively, than Julian Armella being on campus this past weekend. What do we know from the big guy, the FSU legacy?
Yeah, as I pointed out going into this visit, we did a really good story on Julian before this visit happened, and I said this visit's and Julian, said this. It's about how mom feels about the visit, because I think Julian is totally sold on FSU, and our Austin Cox got the story on him. I don't know if it's up on Warchant yet, but supposed to be up. I would say eventually, but they knocked it out of the park with mom. She was blown away. She loved everything. She loved just seeing just how much of a priority her son is, both on a football field and away from the football field. That, hey, my baby's going to be taken care of if he comes here. She already liked Atkins, she already liked Norvell, but it was a chance for her to see the coaches around their current players, and that's what she kind of got to see. And certainly, I think they made a strong impression throughout the weekend. I've already forecasted Julian to FSU. Just feel even stronger. That it's there's a good chance I think it'll be FSU when he does make a decision on December 15th. But I think the main factor to take away from his visit was knocking it out with the mom, really just laying it on thick. And I think I saw her in different parts of the weekend when I met more, and there was never a time where she wasn't laughing and smiling. I mean, she was loving it. So,
Awesome.
like I said, we'll have a full story with Austin Cox soon, but certainly they accomplished everything I think they were looking for in that visit with Armella.
Look at that, man. They're friends. Look at their BFFs. Like, hey, man, like, should I swipe left on this one or right on this one, Alex? Tell me, coach. You let me know, man. Great to see. Offensively, anybody else of note that was on campus this past weekend, Michael?
I think that's probably the main one as far as on the offensive side of the ball. I think you had several defensive players like defensive back Marquise Gilbert. I think FSU did a really good job in the visits. I think going into that visit for me with Gilbert, I think probably Auburn was the favorite going into that. I think FSU closed the gap some, but I don't think it's probably going to be enough. I think he'll probably make probably end up at Auburn from everything the feeling I get. But now the other DB that was probably even higher and more important is Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas from Niceville High School, Rivals 100 DB. FSU laid it on thick, and this is another one where I think the difference between this recruitment and Armella was, this was a chance for Azari to see kind of a lot of different things about FSU that he hadn't experienced. He hadn't been there really in a detailed visit environment since like his sophomore year, from what he was saying. So he's visited before, but got to remember the COVID year he was actually supposed to visit FSU, but you can't take visits. You can only like look at the campus from the outside. So certainly you mentioned how massively different this was, and I think the main thing with him was feeling that vibe and energy and connection to the FSU staff and just what they're going to do and how they're going to use them both on offense and defense. And I asked him after the visit, did you feel that? He's like, oh, most definitely. I felt it, and that was exactly what I was looking for. So they connected on both major kids that were high school kids that they had coming in this weekend of what exactly they wanted to accomplish, which is hitting on the key points of making sure that Azare is very comfortable with what they're doing, where they're going, the vision of where they're going, and also just the different ways you're using. And then seeing him, I think, around other players. I think he spent a lot of time with Jarquez Macklin from transfer from Arkansas. I think they kind of mesh really well because their personalities are kind of the same. Whereas Azare is kind of laid back, and I think I think Quez, or as they call him on the team, Pac-Man. Uh, it was just a great connection with those two where he went through, talked about things that they do there, the way it is at FSU, the culture it is, and I think he mentioned like energies like 100 times it seemed. He's like the energy was always there, and I think that really, I think that really captivated him throughout the visit. That there was so much energy all the time, so much preparation, organization to what their plans are for him, and just the feeling and vibe there was really strong throughout the whole visit. And he's another one I have forecasted at FSU, and I think that's where he's going to pick when he makes his decision Wednesday. And I think another big deal because coming this visit, he was kind of unsure if he was going to sign early or if he was going to sign late. The fact that he was emphatic about, "Hey, I'm deciding on Wednesday," I think that's a positive development for FSU that he's sure that he's going to sign that early when FSU was the only visit he took. So I think that says a lot about the job they did, this weekend on his RA, and certainly not an easy job when you already consider they have Travis Hunter, they have Sam McCall. Those are two really good DBs, and you're bringing in another elite DB. So sometimes that all doesn't always mesh, but I think with Azare, he's always loved competition, and I think they did a great job of showing how he would mix into the plans.
What was it? What's the story with him, man? I feel like you were talking about him more than a year ago, and this is a name that I really haven't heard about until the last month and a half or so.
Yeah, well, basically what happened was FSU stayed consistent with him. Obviously, this is when FSU was going through all the problems and Jacksonville State loss, and looked just okay. They've got no shot. It's not going to happen. But FSU just stayed tight with him, and then all of a sudden, Oklahoma has a coaching change. LSU has a coaching change. Georgia Tech has changes within their staff on the defensive side of the ball. Florida has a change. I mean, these are all teams that were finalists for him. So once that's kind of opened the door, I think the other thing that helped FSU was their season. They went in that beat Miami, beat North Carolina, had finished with a positive season as far as won at Boston College. They fell to Florida, but they still competed, and I think that's what really captivated to Azari too, because he saw where this vision was going. It wasn't just like you're telling somebody, "Hey, we're going to get there," but you're actually showing where the growth is going. Yeah, it's a long ways from a finished product of where Mike Norvell wants them to be, but I think Azari saw, just where that vision was going and seeing it with his own eyes. And then today visiting, he kind of saw, what the plans are with him. So I think that's kind of how it opened up for FSU and Azari.
And real quick before we let you go, Michael, your thoughts on Randy Shannon being elevated to linebackers coach / co-defensive coordinator?
I love it. I think he's one of the best linebacker coaches in the South. I mean, you look at what his resume is; it's been very good. He knows linebackers. He knows recruiting. Recruiting wise, that goes without saying. What he does in South Florida, he's got so much experience that you look for. I mean, you could go out there and really pound the pavement with other guys all around the country, and they probably wouldn't have the same experience of what Randy has. Will he be the home run hire? I don't know, but I mean, he's about as strong as it gets. I think when it comes to really solid experience, DC experience, co-defensive coordinator title, I think was pretty cool too, because I mean, it showed just how impactful he's helped as far as in that defense. So I think it's a big deal, and I think it's certainly really quickly lessens that blow of Coach Marv not being at FSU anymore, and I think it certainly is going to help FSU with both linebacker development and certainly in recruiting, which is unfortunately for Marv, that was a problem, just landing guys. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what recruiting is. I mean, doesn't matter how the results you get to that point, you have to land guys. And for Marv, it wasn't there consistently. And with Shannon, we know he's going to be able to land guys. He's done it wherever he's been as far as getting top recruits. So I think it's a tremendous hire.
All right. Let's let Michael get some rest because as you see on your screen, and I'm going to tell you to the folks that are listening on the podcast, National Signing Day Live, the place to be is going to be warchant.com and Warchant TV. That's our YouTube channel. So subscribe, hit the thumbs up so you're connected and know what's going on throughout signing day. We will be live here on YouTube from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. That's 7 hours of live coverage and analysis. Myself, I'm not going to be doing it. I'm just hosting it. Michael's going to be giving you all the information. And then Jeff and Tom will take you from 1 to 3 o'clock. But it'll be very exciting. Come hang out with some Nole fans. You can chat here live with us on YouTube. Obviously, the PRB will be getting lots of love too. So, and we'll also do a live chat. Monday night? Is that what we're going to do, Michael?
That's what I hear, and that's good because it's Monday night. Because I'm going to be spending all day trying to track down all these times, for these targets and these commits of what time they're going to be, and certainly organizing a lot of that stuff to figure out. And then, if there's any last few days nuggets, I'll kind of keep you guys informed. And we'll probably do probably that same night or Tuesday. We might wait till Tuesday to do predictions on guys that are kind of uncommitted targets. I got to figure that out with Gene, so I got to give Gene a call and see what the plan is or what they want to do. But we'll certainly come up with that, and certainly have plans for a lot of stuff coming up. So it's going to be certainly a busy week.
All right, great stuff. For Michael, I'm Aslan, and for Corey, thanks for watching this video, and thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, which is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Stay connected to warchant.com.